I started leaving my front door unlocked at night. Posted by u/hack_shuck. Journal. What is life without protection? No life at all, I thought. My husband died without warning. I was happy, as I was his everything. Then, he was gone. I couldn't cope. Closed myself away from everyone. Not that there was anyone really left. Nobody liked my husband or our marriage. They couldn't help me anyway. Nothing could. I always called my husband my sweetheart, but his heart was rotten, decaying every day. If he knew, he didn't share. He didn't really ever tell me things. I tore my hair out with anxiety after he passed. He was my bubble wrap. He called me his damsel in distress and need of rescue in my first Valentine's card. He worked. I stayed home. I'd lost contact with family and friends. For the best, he said. I still had our house, his savings, but I felt afraid all of the time. Fine clothes, good food. So what? I felt so frightened to be alone. I started drinking. This didn't help. Drugs just made me sick. Nothing helped until I tried something truly terrifying. As therapy, I guess. I was desperate. I didn't lock my door at night. The first time was the worst. I sat behind my door clutching a golf club. Ridiculous, I know. Pretty ridiculous sport too. Golf was the one thing I teased my husband about. Just once. The first night behind an unlocked door was an eternity. I imagined all manner of evils lurking outside, with nothing much to protect myself with. I was so tempted, so many times, to reach my slender hand toward the lock. But when night turned to daylight, I felt a little less afraid for the first time in ages. The next night, I left the door unlocked and made myself lie in our bed, clutching my comforter for dear life, for protection. I even fell asleep, eventually, and awoke feeling a little bit more alive. The next night, I slept atop my comforter. The next night, I decided to push things further. I left my front door ajar, just a little wider the next night. From the street, no one could notice, unless they were looking real close, I suppose. Our house is set back a little from the road. People stay away anyway. They were afraid of my husband, and they hated me. All the neighbors. Said I'm crazy and too young to marry a 55-year-old at 18. They never said anything like that to my husband's face, of course. Last night I sat wearing only darkness in our front doorway, staring out into the inky night, with the door open wide. I heard odd animal noises, badgers, perhaps, cicadas, traffic in the distance. It reminded me of camping out in the woods as a kid, terrifying, like a roller coaster, but exhilarating too. Next night, you'd want a wilder ride. Tonight, I'm going to sleep with the hallway lights on. The front doorway will be lit up like a beacon. No more entries. Breakfast in Bed, Valentine's Day 2019. Posted by u/femfall in r/short scary stories. The sun is up and peeking through the trees in the garden as I sit and sip my coffee, enjoying the calm and stillness of the early morning. This has always been my favorite part of the day, and I stretch contentedly, the pleasant ache of my body reminding me of the delights of last night. I wonder if he's awake yet. I can see him in my mind's eye, his beautiful body naked on the rumpled sheets, his hair sticking up everywhere, and his face with that cute little furrow between his brows that only appears when he's dreaming, or worried, or in pain. Whenever I see it, I want to kiss that furrow and make it all better. It's been a long, hard road to where we are today. Both of us made mistakes along the way, and there was a time when I thought I'd scared him off and ruined things, but now, on this glorious morning, I sit and give thanks that he's finally mine forever. There's no way I'm ever going to let him go. I love him too much to ever risk losing him. I finish my coffee and put a fresh pot on. The radio is playing love songs all day today. Normally, I'd be feeling bitter and angry, but this morning, every lyric seems to be written for me and my beautiful boy. So I happily sing along as I prepare my tray. It's ready, and it's perfect. Carefully, I carry it up the stairs and nudge the bedroom door open with my foot. "Good morning, lover," I say as I see him start to stir. "Did you sleep well?" He opens his eyes and looks at me, his eyes still half filled with dreams. Suddenly, realization dawns, and he jolts awake and tries to sit up, only to be thwarted by the handcuffs on each wrist and the shackles on his ankles. He tries to shout out, but his voice is all but silenced by the duct tape wound around his face. I laugh. "Silly, did you forget where you were? I thought I made it clear last night that you're not going anywhere." I set the tray down on the bed and watch his beautiful blue eyes darken in fear as he sees the boiling water, hacksaw, bleach, razor blades, and other instruments of torture I've set out beautifully on a white muslin cloth, along with a single red rose for my forever love. Tick yes to be my Valentine, posted by u/Guy Ox. Tanya's the prettiest girl in my grade. I think she's really cool and special, and her pigtails are super nice. So just like everyone says to, I wrote her a card on heart-shaped red paper 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. I even practiced making my handwriting ultra neat like Miss McGrath taught us. My card said, "Dear Tanya, will you be my Valentine, please? Check yes, check no. Love, Andy, XOXO." During recess, while she was playing on the swings, I went up and gave it to her. She made a funny face when she read it, and when she finally gave it back, the box ticked was no. That's okay, I thought. I could just write her another one tomorrow. So I did, and again the next day, and the day after that. Just when I was considering sending 2 cards a day, Mommy came into the living room, looking really mad. "Andy, I just got off the phone with your principal," she informed me. "Is it true that you've been giving cards to little Tanya Allen in your class, asking her to be your Valentine for a week?" Suddenly, I felt major embarrassment, like I'd done something wrong. "Yeah?" I mumbled, looking down at the ground. Mommy just shook her head at me. "This is very upsetting to hear. I'm disappointed, Andy. Go to your room now." Later that night, I overheard her apologizing to Tanya's mommy over the phone. "I'm so sorry, Deborah. No, I take full responsibility for this. I should have taught him better, you know? I hate to make up over the phone. Why don't you and I meet up for coffee soon? Hearing this made me feel really guilty about Tanya. If me giving her letters actually was making her feel bad, then that was the last thing I wanted to do. For the next few days, I kept my distance from her, just to make sure she felt better. Which is why I was so surprised when Tanya came up to me in the playground today, all on her own. She was holding one of the Valentine's Day cards I'd given her before, except this time, the box ticked on the card was, yes. Even though there were teardrops all over the paper, and Tanya's eyes were puffy and red, I could have jumped for joy when I told Mommy about it in the car. She was happy too. I knew my handsome young man would get a Valentine eventually. She smiled slyly. It makes me so proud knowing that Mommy isn't angry at me for before. However, she does want me to write one more card. This time for Tanya's mommy. The card says, "Dear Tanya's mom, sorry to hear about your accident and that you are in the hospital right now. Get better soon.